Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and begin. I think we're only missing 2 people, but that's okay. I'm actually going to be recording this session, so I can share this with the rest of the group after our meeting today. Thank you for the 2 of you for coming to the meeting. I'm excited, and Ravila and I are excited to show you our virtual community. As I mentioned in our in the email, we're still in the process of developing this, but we wanted to start giving you all access to it so you could begin giving us feedback so we can continue perfecting this as we go. And of course, even after we launch it, we're going to be requesting feedback from the broader CSEM community about the functionality, etc. So this is going to be definitely a work in development. Okay, so let's begin with our I'm just, Rafila, sorry, I'm going to mute you because I can actually hear an echo from your side.
Okay, and also I think you don't need to unshare your screen. It doesn't matter. It's a lot of drama. I'll just,
Okay, you
yeah.
can just go ahead and I'll
Navigate and yeah.
That sounds great. Okay, thank you, Rafila.
All right.
All right, and so to begin, our virtual community link is cscmonline.net, and it's going to bring you to this nice landing page that just has a few messages and pictures. And so this landing page also is going to have some of the news that you've already seen on our newsletters. Although we do have a dedicated page on news that Rafila will present on. The other things I'll point out here is that we have our Twitter up here, so if anybody wants to follow us or see what we're writing on Twitter, they can just click here. And then we have our internal CSEM community that's password protected, and I'll go into detail on that soon. And then if people want to become members, they can request membership, and it takes them directly to a few questions that they have to answer just so that I can screen them to ensure that they're the right type of member before we add them. And then we have the member login, which is going to give you access to the CSEM community. And to make it easy for the advisory group, we're going to make your passwords all the same. I'll show you once we go into the CSEM community that there's 2 separate communities. One is for the broader CSEM, which you all will have access to. And then there's another community that's specific to the advisory group that's only for people on the advisory group. Nobody else can see it. It's not made public, and that's
so
also
so the difference between the member login and the CSEM community is what?
Nothing really. If once you've logged in, then you have access to the CSEM community. But if you're not logged in, then you don't have access to this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Okay, thanks.
Otherwise, you have access to the rest. You don't have to log in to have access to the rest of what we're about to show you. So first we'll show you sort of the external virtual community, and then we'll show you what the internal is, which is where you have to log in to have access to, which you'd come here to log in. Okay, and then there's the contact us. So I'll start with the about. So if you click on about, there's information here about the CSEM, our vision and guiding principles, and then we just put a little bit of information here about UHC 2030, and we have a few links that can link them back to their website. This is something the core team felt was important to have each other link to each other's different sites. So they, on their CSEM page on their UHC 2030 site, will have a link to this as well. Just note that down here, people can also click here to link back to the UHC 2030 site. And then we have, I'm sure you all have seen this, but the Meet the Advisory Group. So you'll see here that we have information about who the advisory group is and what they're responsible for. And then we have almost everybody on the advisory group. I think since Aurélie has left, I'm going to have them take this down, and I still haven't received information from Action Against Hunger on who's going to replace her. But we have almost everybody. We're just missing Sandra's, and I believe, oh no, we have Carolyn's, great. So just Sandra's, but I'll go ahead and click on Harriet's profile just so you can see what it looks like But this is basically what everybody's profile is going to be. It's a picture, and then it has the bio blurb that everybody sent me, and that's basically it. We could add contact if that's something that you all think is important, but I figured that this would be enough information. And so that's for people to understand who's on the advisory group. And then all the way at the bottom, you have the CSEM Secretariat, which we have a little description of what the CSEM Secretariat is. And then we have our bios down here. And it's the same idea. Once you view the profile, you'll see that it's no different than the others. The other thing that we have, which I think is exciting, is the Where We Are, which is the CSEM mapping that we've been working on. And so highlighted are all of the countries where we have members from the CSEM. And down here, you can actually click, for example, like Afghanistan, and see in Afghanistan, we have a member called Court Aid, and this links to their website. So if people want to find out more about the organization, they can easily click and go to the site. Here we have United Kingdom has quite a few, so you can see here all of the organizations that we have, and this is continuing to expand because I get more and more inputs every day from different members since we're still promoting this mapping.
Could you just update us, Eliana, on like how that's going in terms of members contacting you to be involved? How many do we have, and how fast are they coming over?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have about 62 different organizations that are currently on this map. However, individual memberships are up to about 250, I believe, or maybe slightly more. And Rafilo has done a really great job on Twitter just promoting the CSEM and sharing the link on how to request membership. So through that and also our newsletter, we've had about 18 different people request membership through the link. So that's been really great, and we're going to continue to use that. And I'm sure this site's going to also help to kind of increase our membership. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it, did you send this to the group as well? Because I would have to check with Germany, but I think with our Venro membership, there could be a good dozen or more who would be interested to sign up.
Yeah.
I could read to my network. Do you have an email? Yeah, Action Media, sure, but I think we are about 40 members in our
group. Wow.
Different organizations, and I don't know, I mean, I would make this. Could you just, if you have did you send it to the group already? Then I'll look it up. Otherwise, if you could send me the email how to do it, and I will forward it gladly.
Yeah, sure, certainly. So the instructions on the CSEM mapping, so the instructions went out to only people who are current members. So if you're a current member, you'll be receiving the newsletter, and we have instructions on how to submit information to come up on the CSEM mapping. Yep. But if you want the link to how to get new members, yep, then that's a separate link that we've also been promoting on our newsletter, but I can send that to you separately.
That would be wonderful, thank you.
Okay.
It makes it all the more easier to send it to my network.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, yeah.
And then just to add, and this is slightly tangential, so we'll get back on topic quickly, but UHC partnership and UHC Day and all of that, obviously they have a very large pool of people connected, so hopefully we could get some of them involved at some point down the line as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's the idea, to keep expanding this, and I'll show you in a little bit how we're going to connect with the UHC Day microsite, but certainly we'll take advantage of all of that. And I had spoken with Akihito, I think you were there, Justin, that I think that our involvement in UHC Day is like one of the main reasons was that it would really help expand our network, so we'll definitely take advantage of that. Also, we have inputs from 60 different organizations, and I'm certain that that does not cover all the organizations that are currently in our Google group. So we're going to keep pushing out this request through different communications channels. So we'll continue to do it over Twitter, and the newsletter, but when we do the official launch of this site, we want to actually do a webinar where we invite all of our members, and like we're hoping that they'll either attend the webinar live or watch it, watch the recording, and then see that, you know, there's this map, and if they're not a part of it, they may want to be. And so hopefully we'll get even more requests. The other thing that I'm likely going to do, I'll just wait a little bit longer, is I'm probably going to cross-check what we currently have in our CSEM mapping with what's in our Google group. It's going to be a little tricky because not everybody's emails have the name of their organizations, but most do, and so I'll be able to do an initial cross-check to see who we're missing. But I suspect we're missing quite a few still, so this will also be a work in progress. Okay, so this is where we are, and just so you all know, and I'll send you this Excel spreadsheet, but we're also pulling a lot more information about these organizations, not just their websites, but also just other information like having a contact person, and you know, it gives us more of an idea of who our members are. And so I can share the Excel spreadsheet with you all. So if you want to just do some research on who the main contacts are for each of the organizations, you might know some of the people. We can start really getting to know who our members are, which was the other point of the CSEM mapping. Yep.
Just another quick one.
Yes.
For large organizations like World Vision, we have about 90 offices. I think it's pointless, or would it make sense for you to have them individually sign up because I have a community practice to which I can reach out, or rather have it really the ones that are interested, or World Vision International? What do you prefer? I mean, this might be Care and Safe, and others might have the same issue. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I think that for the mapping, we can have World Vision International, but certainly for the individual subscriptions, whoever wants to receive news from the CSEM and wants to get involved in things like the primary healthcare statement that we're going to be putting together before AA40, then those should be individual members that should be signing up, and that's separate. Well, I'll add them to the Google group.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep, no problem. So Rafilwa, I'll go ahead and mute myself and let you go into the advocacy messages section.
Oh, thanks, Eliana. Hi, Maureen and Justin again. So the advocacy section will just have all I think as it stands right now, it's a bit too wordy. I believe that when the core message and document is done, that will, I mean, more or less be what we put on this page, because it's going to be a lot more concise and easier for people who visit to digest and understand exactly what our position is. So these are all the, these are really just issues, all the issues that we have in the various documents. But when we're done with the core messaging document, this is what you'll see under this page that Eliana has opened.
Yeah, and I'll just say that this actually came from the On the Road document, On the Road to UHC. So we just pulled from that for now. Like Rafilo said, it might be too wordy. We may want to, cut it down, or, use the advocacy messages that you're refining only, but this is what we have for now.
I think that's a good idea to stick with On the Road to UHC for now. I think the refining of the messages is going to be a fairly, I don't want to use the word serious, but I think there's some meat in that conversation. And there'll be some various different opinions. And as I said in emails to you, it's probably something that we can't resolve in emails. And at some point we're going to have to get together either on the phone or in person and talk about it. So that's really interesting and important. And for now, to keep it as what we agreed to previously is probably a good plan.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
And also, I totally agree with Justin, and I think it's totally okay if we say, people, look, nothing that's written here is written in stone. This is something a community we build up together, and therefore we can discuss things. And if you click on the same tab in 2 months, it might read a little different. Expect that. So I think it behooves as well as a society to keep that road open to change.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks, Mara. So special health initiatives. special health initiatives is that this particular page will be where we really lobby with other, as you know, with vertical programs or special health initiatives, I don't know, to sort of guide them on how to, I don't know, let's say include UHC in their messaging, because I think that's really more or less what this is about.
Yeah.
To integrate UHC messaging into their broader mandates and agendas. So that's
Yep.
that.
So could we, so you go, Eliana, and then I'll go after you.
Okay, sure. I'll just add that this is actually what was agreed upon before the IAC with the core team when we developed the UHC messages for vertical programs. So that's where we pulled this text from, just so you all know.
Yeah, and I think, again, that's exactly the right approach to use stuff that we've already agreed to in a consensus fashion. I'm just wondering about the title, special health initiatives. Because if I saw that, I'm not really sure I'd know what it means.
Yeah.
I mean, is it, could we say something like linkages with vertical programs or something like that, which is a bit more explicit?
So I wasn't aware of this, but when we were in New York for UHC Day, there was this big deal around vertical programs that apparently people don't like the term vertical programs, so people are trying not to use it anymore. And I think it's the vertical programs that don't like the term. So there was a lot of talk.
If we say linkages with other global health initiatives, or I mean, I don't really mind what the term is, but as long as it's a little bit more explicit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can say like linkages to other health initiatives. Yeah, I mean that sounds fine.
I kind of like linkages to other global health initiatives, but anyway, up to the group again.
Global health initiatives. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, like I even stumbled.
And when I talk to my friends at Action Against AIDS Germany, vertical nowadays becomes an insult, which is a funny one.
Yeah, that's what I heard. There's a
So
lot of
I can insult you by saying, you vertical programs. Anyway, that hurts my colleagues is good, but it's a funny one. I thought, but I think you're absolutely right, and I think your wording is great. Just in other health initiatives, special is again. You think of special needs and say, okay, the screen turns black, so maybe that's a good one. Thanks.
And I may change it to other global health programs only because, and you'll see in the special themes pages that we have a section on global health initiatives, which is referring more to the work that Gavi, PMNCH, and them are doing with their CSO constituencies. So I wouldn't want to confuse the two, but I'll show you that site and then we can.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So thanks, Justin and Maureen. I mean, I also stumbled, just on that. I always stumble on special health initiatives and then I can't say vertical programs. Anyway, moving on to the knowledge exchange tab. We have only 2 pages here, the e-library, the e-learning. The difference between these two is that the e-library is where we haven't done that already, I think. Yeah.
No, these are the 2 that we're still working on and this would actually be a great, you'll be a great help, the advisory group, to help us build the e-library, but go ahead.
Yes, because the e-library is going to be our bank of resources, documents, I think sometimes even videos if possible. I don't know if that will add some extra, I don't know whether to say bandwidth heaviness to the site, but generally this is where we'll store all the resources that are UHC related and can assist in the advocacy that organizations are doing at country and even global level. And the e-learning is going to be where I think Eliana already mentioned, and you already, of course, know that one of the things we'll be doing, I don't want to say monthly, but on a very regular basis, is trying to host some webinars where we discuss, any UHC related, they'll most likely be geared at learning, as it says, and then we'll also have here any other learning modules that we can put together for the different network, for the members of our network.
Yeah, that probably, I mean, developing e-learning modules is probably not something we'll get to do, but we definitely want to link out to other
The other,
people's
yeah.
different e-learning modules. So
Mhm.
the Knowledge Management Technical Working Group, for example, under UHC 2030 is going to have a bunch of e-learning modules that we want to link up to, and any other organizations that have any interesting online like
Mhm.
courses that don't require, like that aren't expensive or, are for free, or any other things that we can link up to will be under this e-learning section.
Yeah.
So definitely for the e-library, I mean, we have a few initial UHC documents that we'll include here and some other, related documents, but if you all have any resources or tools or guidance documents or anything that would be helpful for our members to have access to, please send it to us so that we can include it in our library. But we need to start building this.
That sounds great. Just to say, I'm pretty sure the knowledge management group is kind of working on a UHC taxonomy. So like this is
Oh
how you
yeah.
categorize topics in UHC. And I don't know how developed that is, but it might be useful framing our library and our learning modules kind of to be aligned with that taxonomy, whatever it is, whenever it's complete.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And I was in one of their meetings with Akihito when they presented the taxonomy. And so I have all the information. So thank you for that great suggestion, because we haven't, organized anything yet. So great. I'll definitely use that as guidance for organizing ours. And certainly I don't want this to be us duplicating what the knowledge management group is doing. So when you're thinking about resources that we can add to this, make sure they're specific to civil society, because I want to keep this as specific as possible. And of course, we're going to be linking to the Knowledge Management Hub once it's up and running. But yeah, for now, I just want to make sure that this is solely resources for civil society, just to differentiate the two.
Yep, sure.
All right, thanks, Mariana. Thanks, Justin. I think we can move on now to the news.
Yeah, let's move to the news, and then I'll go into the special themes.
Yeah. So the news, as you can see there, will just really be, this is the page where we will, this is the page we'll probably update the most on any news. It will, I think, link directly from our newsletter, if that's correct. But also, we will also try to update it regularly on any topical sort of UHC related news. And this is the format, picture, text.
You can click and get some more information on each of these.
Yes.
So this doesn't actually link directly to our newsletter. We can choose what goes into these news sections from our newsletter. But what does is, and we're still going to update this, but our archive of our CSEM newsletter will come up here. So if anybody wants to have access to any of our previous newsletters, they'll be able to do that. So this is what links up to all of our different CSEM newsletters, and this is something that we'll be updating manually.
Thanks for that, Eliana. So yeah, that's the news.
So is this going over time? Is this going to become something like an archive, or is this going to be? I mean, it says they're already newsletter archived. Are we going to already envision that we are going to have a general archive, or would that be used up later? I mean, either way is fine with me.
So the idea is that just this section right here is going to have kind of like what you see here, like this
tweets,
scroll down here.
timeline,
Yeah, as we get more and more newsletters, it's just going to start archiving them here.
Yeah.
But this is just going to be select, news that's like important that we want to highlight, and we'll probably be updating this more frequently than people are going to be getting the newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure,
makes sense.
Okay. Okay. So the calendar is where we'll have all the events, some of the events that people send in, and some of the events that that are relevant, particularly those that the CSEM will be participating in. As you can already see there, we've got the Anger, and if you click on it, it expands into more information.
I'll just click on one, but yeah.
Yeah. Here it is.
Yeah, so we'll keep adding.
We'll just keep adding as things come up.
Just a technical question, because I saw iCal's support. Is that more the Apple, or is that also Android able?
You know, I think iCal is just Apple. I think. I'm not very tech savvy,
Yeah,
but I can ask.
that would be something that we need to review in terms of if it can be as simple as possible for all platforms to be reached.
I think Google Calendar should work on Android though, but I'm going to ask.
It does, I think.
I'm going to jot that down to ask our web
This is just one of
developer.
those small technical things that to some poor guy in Burundi
Right.
phone might make a difference.
Yes. Yes, of course.
Or a lady, sorry for the guy.
Thanks, Marvin. Always the advocate for the guy at the the girl at the grocery. For that.
That's me.
Yep. Thanks.
But you can already see we have quite a few here already. So we're going to continue to update that as we go and as we get more news from people.
I mean, this is something should be squashed one day by success, and people are really getting busy updating itself. We might have to review that maybe by region, you know, because that can be really get stuffed if people. Let's say we have just in the country of India, we might have in 1 month important meetings that are important for India, but not maybe for the world. So that's something where I think this kind of thinking about scalability or maybe then differentiation later, if we can think of this now, it would be really good. I'm sure we can add this also later, but it might be more difficult.
Yeah.
The same could be, which is always a huge issue, about English, which language to choose. These are kind of stuff that, I mean, for various reasons, in or exclude large sections of this planet. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need to think about that, and also maybe keep this at the international level, because I think if we start putting in events at the country level, it's going to get very packed.
Yeah,
absolutely, and that might be the solution for now, that we say this is the global community, but then we either have to have a filtering function so that people can submit suggestions and somebody filters them and writes a polite email when it's about a one-day meeting in some village, or that we have a clear filtering and at the calendar level, and say, if you want calendar events for this country or this region or this language, click here. Then things become just more complex. And it's not something we need to be concerned with now. But, you know, in the unlikely event of total success, we might be swamped as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Marvin. And yeah, I do like that idea of maybe, I don't know, separating them in some way, because one of the reasons why we might want to, involve events at the country level is just that whole idea of the CSOs knowing what's happening where in terms of UHC and in terms of the networks. So that's something to think about. And thank you. I've noted that. So that's that with the calendar. The other page we have there under news is this CSEM spotlight. We thought that would be nice to be able to, whoever we spotlight in a particular issue of our newsletter, we also update that here on this page. I think it's a feel-good thing for our members, but it's also constantly trying to highlight the work that our members do in as very many different ways as possible, so that even if you're not accessing or particularly clicking on or reading the newsletter, you still have that access here to see who our members are and the great work that they're doing.
How is this planned? Would this be easy to just share this spotlight via Twitter? Or is this a running thing where you always get thrown back to the same spotlight? Because that kind of issue, I think, would be important if we have something that we quickly want to get to a larger audience. Then it would be good to have each spotlight under its own page so that we can easily distribute the news via social media. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there are different ways we can do this. Right now we only have one organization, but we could have the spotlight page similar to how the news is structured, and have like the people we've had in spotlight so far, just have each of them here, and then you can click on it and then get more information about that particular whatever organization you're interested in. And I think in terms of sharing on Twitter, you could just copy and paste this link so people will have access to either just the individual page, or if maybe the broader member spotlight page where we're going to have multiple spotlights. But we still haven't decided. I mean, right now we already done 4 different member spotlights, so we could make it like the news page and have all 4, or we could just keep updating it every 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and then have only one that we're spotlighting every once in a while. So
well, both has its pros and cons, but for instance, if you have one spotlight for one organization, they might do the sharing for you.
Oh yeah.
But if this is, and for that one, it would be actually helpful to have per spotlight one shareable page or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
If you have this like a long line, then
right.
like 3 weeks later, you have to scroll to find the one that you actually want to publish.
This is true. Yeah.
It's not so helpful.
Yeah.
So the easier you make it for social media, or a big organization like World Vision, they start saying, oh yeah, there's a nice spotlight, and you might have 40, 50 offices sharing this through their individual Twitter account. You might have a totally different reach if it links directly to that spotlight. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's kind of nice too to shed light to just one organization too, which is kind of how we have it here, which was the initial idea. Like, give them just that FaceTime for a few weeks, I think is also nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and do one and don't exclude the other. I mean, the thing is absolutely that a spotlight might be an issue and not an organization, and then you might have several orgs. And even, I don't know, the UNDP is sharing this on their website, and you might have a totally different reach. So Spotlight might not be, it's called a member Spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, then that's that, but that's totally okay. Just bearing in mind that some of these organizations, they are pretty big. I mean, for World Vision, we are 40,000.
Yeah.
And we are not even one of the biggest, I think. And I don't even know how many different accounts and social media people we have.
Wow. I think this is a valid point that Maureen is raising, because as it is, we already have, I mean, World Vision is not an umbrella, but we already have some organizations where for instance, we've spotlighted really, what is this? Virgo. And Virgo has other organizations under it. So I mean, these are important points, because we have to think.
Absolutely, these are networks, so it might not even be the same organization, but we have umbrella organizations that might have very far reach.
Yep, it's something to think about.
Yeah, and just so you all know, the spotlights we've done so far, we've done in collaboration with the organizations. So they've been telling us how they want to, how they want their blurb to look on the spotlight, and obviously have been sending us the photos. So, I mean, that might be something too, like for those organizations that have, their network organizations, talking to them about how they want it to look on the site, whether they want it to be, overall, or if they want us to get specific. I mean, that's also something we can work with them on.
Yeah, and I think Maureen is also concerned about manageability of it. If we end up, trying to spotlight, I mean, if it's something that we're going to have here highlighted, so it might get unmanageable, I think is what he's saying. And I agree with him so much that I'm starting to think that maybe a different medium like Twitter would actually be and maybe still the newsletter for now, but
Mm-hmm.
not the site, because that, I don't know, Marwin, am I?
Well, for that, we need to be flexible, but, I want to have both. We have something like Bread for the World that they don't implement at all themselves. But they are in contact with hundreds of NGOs all over the world, that some of them are very small. And I think in the member spotlight, we want both. We want the smallest, I don't know, Bolivian self-help group to be able, if they do something that we portray, this is really grassroots, and it might be something in the middle. We might want networks that are countrywide, but maybe regional, maybe global. I think if we want to be able to shed spotlights on the different what civil society can be, it is really from the community-based CBO up until we are Core 8, which represents all development NGOs in the European Union.
Yeah.
And I think our thinking should be, how can we all of them give room? And of course, for me, the closer we get to the field, all the better, but also shed value and say, hey, even a big European network is interested in that subject, and it gives a good political message at the same time and shows the breadth of what civil society means in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maud. Thank you. So we have to think about that, and I agree with that, because I did have already some concerns as I was receiving the information. I realized that, okay, here I am, we're spotlighting the umbrella, but there's these little other ones. What do we do? But if we start trying to spot, I don't know. Yeah, thanks. We should think.
We'll get some more feedback from others, but we should continue only because we have 20 minutes left, and I want to make sure we have time for the internal site.
I am done with.
Thank you, Rafilue.
Thanks.
Okay, and so the last part of the external site is just the special themes pages, and so the CSEM is heavily involved in other different we're calling them special themes, but other different initiatives, and this is where we have, for example, the Global Health Initiative, which is you all saw the statement that I shared in the face-to-face meeting, but basically it talks about so it's the Statement for Global Health Initiatives, Civil Society Representatives, and CSO Secretariats of Global Health Initiatives Coordination Group. It's really a mouthful. But it has some information here about, the background of what this group is, and then, what they stand for. This is the statement that they put together. And if anybody from a GHI civil society constituency wants to be added, they can contact me. And then we have a lot of activities that we can't put here yet that we're working on, because we're still working on them. But once we have some outcomes, then we're going to put just news here as well, specific to what the global health initiatives are doing, which there's quite a few things. So, for example, like the Gavi Civil Society Work Report is going to be coming out sometime after the Gavi board meeting, so that's something that we can publish here. And there are lots of meetings that the Global Health Initiatives are hosting for civil society on health financing, for example, and other UHC topics. And so when outcomes of those things come up, we're definitely going to have a section here that's just going to be news specific to this. We did the same thing for primary healthcare, just some information about that. Here I'm promoting the civil society statement that we're seeking inputs for to develop a draft 0, and then we're going to continue seeking inputs from the broader community to develop the statement so that we can launch it at AA40. And any other updates related to primary healthcare and civil society, particularly where CSEM is involved, will also come up here. And then we also have the UHC Financing Advocacy Collaborative, which is something that Ariana and James Sale have been working on. And so there's information about that here. And if anybody wants to be added to their group, which they have their own, I think, listserv, then they can be added here. And any other updates related to this, we're going to also have on this site. And then Justin, just to get back here, get back to you on the UHC Day information, we're going to have a UHC Day special theme as well once we dive a little bit more into those activities. That will link to the microsite, and we'll be able to do promoting on UHC, or help do UHC Day promoting on this site as well through that special theme page. And some will come up, some will end up deleting as time goes by, so this is also something that's going to be updated on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think that one, because if I see special themes, I really don't know what that is either, but I don't have a better
Yeah.
idea for what you call it.
Yeah, we were
I
thinking of
think that one, we just have to wait and see what happens, and then it'll assume a structure once we know what's actually going to be on there, I guess.
Yeah, and then it'll be interesting to see what the rest of the CSEM advisory group thinks about this title. But yeah, I mean, I'm not married to it, but it's the Ariana and I were thinking about what to call it, and that's kind of what came up for now. But definitely, if there is anything better that describes what this is, then please.
Yeah, and I can't
let us
think of
know.
it for now, but I guess it may become clear once
Yeah.
we see what are the topics that are actually going to be on there.
Okay, great. All right, so this is all the external site people have access to without their username and password. So if we go into, oh yeah, go ahead, Marwin.
For the external side, I think something in the future in terms of transparency, what we might want to look at is a section where constituency members actually have access to when we meet, when there is documents that we want others to be able to look into.
Yes.
That's for the future, but I think it would be good in the midterm to be transparent and say, you know, when we meet face to face, it doesn't have to be the detailed minutes, but what has been discussed. This is something we don't need to hide from the world. So
Yeah.
I think in terms of transparency, it might be good to have some of our minutes, notes, whatever what we decide can be public, that we do make it public as well, so that you don't need to log in and say, is that something that's secret? No. I think something like what's happening on the website of the Global Funds,
Yeah.
they are very, very transparent, and I think it has only worked in their favor in general. So that might be something in the future we want to look at as well.
Okay. I do have an idea of how we can do that.
And
So
sorry for
I'll
the
show
noise, I'm
you.
muting myself.
Oh, no, that's okay. So, gosh, I never remember this password. Speaking of what Simon was saying in terms of passwords, let me see if I can. No, CSEM. Do you remember it, Rafila?
No, it works for me. I just copy and paste. This one is also a rather long one, so I always just copy.
Okay, well, let me just show you this really quick. So this is, right now, you can actually click on it and see the CSEM community. You can see what's happening, but you can't actually contribute to it. Like if you want to add something, there's no reply button here until you log in. So give me 1 second. I'm just going to grab the login quickly. And this login is actually what we are going to have the same login for every AG member. So I don't know if that's something that you all are in agreement about, but we thought it might make it easier that way if we have the same login for all the AG members. But for the individual members, they're going to come up with their own login. And really the reason why we wanted to have logins here, or why we thought it was important, was because we may use, so it depends on how people like this internal site, but this is really where we wanted to get inputs on, for example, statements like if we have a statement on primary healthcare and we want to share the document and get inputs from people on that specific document, and we don't want some random organizations to, you know, go in and give their comments, then that's where a password protected site would be useful. Can you all see my screen again?
Yeah, we can see.
Great. So I'm going to follow Rafilo's lead and do the copy paste. So here really is, so now that I'm logged in, you'll see that I actually can comment. So just to show you that, you know, unless people are logged in, they can see what conversations are happening. So our web developer here, she posted a few things and you can comment on what she posted. Like if you look down here, you know, she sent us a link, I commented. And so this is, you know, a way to have a discussion here. And this is for the broader CSEM community, just to remind you all of that. And right now this is what this functionality looks like, but we've left it very kind of plain for now because I do want to show you how the internal advisory group, what that one looks like, because we can make it similar to what this one looks like. Right now anybody can just post and comment on anything. So if I, you know, wanted to post a document and get people's comments, I could post it and then people could just provide their comments below.
It would be good if we could see, and I think there is capacity to do this from what I can see, but a list of discussion topics.
Yes, so great. Let me just show you the CSEM advisory group. So this is the members only section, the advisory group members only section. So the broader CSEM does not have access to this. And this is very similar. This is how we can make the broader community. It's similar to what you just saw, but it has exactly what Justin is saying. So here we'll have categories where people can go into a forum, for example, and in the forum you can start a topic. So I started like a welcome topic, for example, and you can click on that topic and then you can see what I wrote, and then, you know, you can add and somebody else can add to what you wrote, or somebody else can, you know, add something else. And so this is nice because if we want to create a forum on just like IAC, for example, then you can create a topic and have that conversation. And if you want to create a forum for, I don't know, the PhD statement, just internally with the AG, you can start that topic. And so the idea is that you'll have a list of topics here. And so I think this is what you're talking about, right, Justin?
Yeah, that's right. It's good.
Okay. Yeah, so we can definitely do this for the broader CSEM community. I had Kim go ahead and add everyone as members. So right now, this is all of the advisory group. Oh, wow, and she added everybody's pictures and everything. So the other functionality that this has, which I don't know if people will use, but I can click on Johannes's profile, for example, and message him personally. And he'll get, you know, the message, he'll get an email saying, Eliana messaged you, you know, if you want to reply, log in. And so that's kind of nice too, so you can privately message each other if you'd like. But also see, you know, who's on this list as members. And this would be the same for the broader community as well if we did it this way. And then the gallery is something that I wanted to show you that we could also do for the broader CSEM, as Marwan mentioned, but this right now is only for the advisory group. But here's where we have files. So all of the AG face-to-face files are here. So if you click AG Face-to-Face 2018, people have access to basically everything. So we have the agenda, the ADG response that we talked about, the notes. Yeah, so basically everything all the presentations that we presented, like everything is listed here. And right now the icons look like this, but we can actually do it as lists instead if you all think that that's easier to look at. Right now, you know, you can see the icon, but if it's better to do it as like kind of like this, like as a regular, well, that doesn't work. Hold on one second. If you want to do it like this so that it's listed out, we can do it this way too. And this is where we'll also share, like I started collecting pictures that people have been sending over the WhatsApp, so we can share pictures here. All of our monthly meeting minutes from our monthly calls are here as well, and so we're going to keep expanding this. But we can also have a similar gallery like this for the broader CSEM group if we'd like to share certain things, maybe not all of this, but certain things.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, I can't see anything that I would change for now. I think we just have to get people using it and then get feedback from that.
Yep.
For me, it looks also good. I think I would prefer also the list view.
List view, yeah. I think I would too.
I mean, that might be a discussion in general for our next face-to-face meeting, that we say, you know, I would like us to have space for both. internal discussions where we don't switch on any internal filters and just speak our mind and know this will stay internally, but also that we think, hey, much of our discussion probably we would not mind being shared and it be
Right.
by my grandma, the NSA, and other NGO members, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
And then why not make it open and say, no, you know, even if, and that's something that's what maybe as a group might want to discuss and say, you know, and even if we have disagreement, so why not? Then, you know, we are having a good debate, and
Right.
it doesn't need to be something that's big time secret. Why not?
Right.
But that's not something I think for us to decide. But if you know, for instance, we say we will have meeting.
No reception inside. Like I was cutting out.
Oh, sorry, Justin, I'm going to mute you. Go ahead, Marwin.
Yeah, where we say, and this might be more work on you, where we basically say we have some open version, but we are going to publish this, and people will know what was being discussed.
Yeah.
I think it can only work into our advantage if we go that way, and even if we have, you know, maybe to be decided later, but if we have some good meetings where we have a Zoom conference that you have recorded and we think it's an important recording, let's make this public and not worry about it too much, that it might hurt us until it comes around and hurts us, and then review our strategy. But at the moment, I would advocate for transparency as much as possible. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what's great about the way we have it set up right now, because I think that we have both functionalities if need be, so we can have as many discussions publicly within our CSEM community. So just remember that it's the only people who can comment are people who are part of our community. They have the password, the username and password that they have to log into. But yeah, we can have those public conversations here, and if it arises that we need to have some internal CSEM advisory group discussions, we can always, you know, go into the just CSEM advisory group and have those discussions there. The thing that I did want to bring up is that you can post various different types of documents here. You can post pictures, like audios, videos, and documents, and then so if you post a document here, there's a section where you can put comments on the document. So this is what we were thinking of using for sharing, for example, the PHC statement. We could just upload the document and then just have people comment, because I found it very difficult when people go into like a Google Doc, for example, and start doing track changes, or if you send out a Word document and people do track changes and then you get, you know, like 30 different track changes, that can be confusing. And sometimes you just want people to comment on specific things. So we can use this as a way to get comments from people, like organized comments. You can see who said what and, you know, what their position is on a particular statement. So we can try this out. I mean, we could still use Google Doc if we find that this isn't helpful, because I know with Google Doc you can limit it to just comments as well. But you know, it might be nice to use this instead, so that we can start driving traffic to the site just in general. But just know that there's that functionality that you can basically update any of these three types of media and have people comment on them. So then what I can ask our web developer, Kim, so you guys can see her. This is Kim. I'll have her go ahead and replicate what we did for the advisory group for the broader CSEM, so that there are different forum topics, so that we have a gallery where we can share documents and such. And maybe we can also have a list of members, similar to how we have here, so that we can see, you know, who's who. And it's kind of nice, I think. I mean, I don't know if they will do this, but once we have the list of the broader CSEM members, I mean, maybe they'll start talking to each other. You never know. I mean, right now, nobody knows who's on. I mean, they know now, or they will know because of the CSEM mapping, what organizations are members. But in terms of individuals, I mean, I don't think that a lot of people know who's on our membership list. And so, you know, it might be nice for them to be able to see each other and to be able to message each other and, you know, get their contacts more easily that way. I don't know if they'll use it, but that functionality exists. So just putting that out there as well.
Yeah, like it. I think one caveat, when we make this open for our broader constituency, I think some of this should be reviewed by an admin. So that they say, I want to open a topic, and then this is submitted to an admin, and within 48 hours or something like this is reviewed, and not that we say, who wants to go to the cinema with me and makes a new...
Right.
To reduce the hijackability.
Let's
face it, if we hopefully have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people participating, there's going to be some asshole who's going to try stupid stuff, and we need to be able to intervene.
Yeah, I agree.
That's one. And the other one is we might have to build in some disclaimer as well, that we say, look, this is self-registered and we have no idea whether there's a real person behind this persona that you see on the screen. And just so in terms of liability, I think we should, you know, this is like you write somebody on Facebook, you don't know who you're talking to, you're just talking to your face.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think those are all really good points, and we'll definitely have people monitoring conversations, and I'll ask our I'll ask our web developer if there, and I think there's a way to do this because I've used this platform before on other projects, and I think there's a way for just the admin to be able to start topics. I mean, that might be something to consider, although it'll limit people from being able to just open their own topic. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that limits people. I mean,
there
must be precedent for doing this kind of thing in civil society before, and I wonder what other initiatives have done. I mean, I know Marvin C20 had a discussion forum, and that seemed to work.
No, it did, but the thing is, if it's a whole different ballgame if you have like 20 members, or if you have 200 or 2,000, and in the beginning we won't have many. I'm just
thinking of when we expand
that we might be punished by success.
Yeah,
that we might have to manage hundreds. And your web developers might actually say, look, this is too much work that's going on. Or that you say, you submit something and the admin just have to check and say, oh yeah, that's a relevant topic. And also, oh yeah, that has not already been discussed, and then give it a go ahead. But Justin is absolutely right. There are precedents. Maybe it's a question of asking.
Yeah, I can ask her too, because she's developed so many of these communities that I'd just be curious to see from her experience, like what she's seen and how they've monitored it. So I can ask her as well. But I think that's a great point. I've jotted that down.
Awesome.
Okay, well, we are 2 minutes over. I apologize for that, but that basically covers what the site looks like so far. We're going to continue building the knowledge exchange section and make some edits based on some comments that we've received from you all. And I will share this recording with the rest of the group so we can get comments from them. And we're hoping to launch this in a webinar where we can do an orientation, and I would like for somebody from the advisory group to actually lead that. I mean, the Secretariat can host it and we'll promote the event, but it'd be great if we could have some co-facilitators launch this for the broader CSEM sometime in September. So that's our timeline for now.
Ileana?
That sounds great, and well done to both of you for getting this. I mean, it's only 3 months even since the advisory group face-to-face, and to have this up and running by now is really an excellent effort, so well done.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, and let me just echo that. Let me reprimand you for me talking too much.
No, we want inputs, are you kidding?
and 2 points that I would really like to use in the forefront is A1, this being used in low bandwidth.
Yes.
And B, all this, if possible, and let's even take some money in our hands, have this available mobile.
Yes, it is available. This whole site is available mobile. I've tested it on my phone already, so people can
kind of stuff. I mean, for me, if we can discussions going, documents downloading, and that kind of stuff, my benchmark is Santosh. Santosh as a bus stop somewhere on Calcutta, if she can do it on her phone, it's awesome.
Yes. Okay, that's a good point. I mean, I think we have a few people in the advisory group that can help test this out. Like I think
Yeah.
Harriet's another person that can test this out on her phone. So I think that's a
No,
great
and
point.
we should encourage them, especially those, and say, let's try this a little bit and see how well this works. I mean, offline functionalities, that kind of stuff, huh? Can we have parts of? Can we have a forum discussion downloaded and then sitting it on a motorbike, go somewhere into the prairie and have it read in a little village somewhere?
Yeah.
That's the kind of usage that I really would like to be able, in terms of inclusion, everybody, that we think of the low bandwidth, far away, out of internet parts of the world. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Marwin.
Also,
We'll definitely test that.
accessibility for people with disabilities. I think, I mean, presumably that the people who are designing this have designed other sites before, but we need to make sure it's accessible to people, for example.
Yeah. And one last point, and that's not for you to decide, Eliana, but for us all, is that language thing is really bothering me. We are still in our not too small and not too big Anglo bubble. And I know how much it has good to the Gavi constituency to have been able to open up to Francophone parts of the world. In terms of political relevance, it was awesome to be able to say we don't only speak English and we recognize that. So that, of course, is a matter of money as well. But I'd like us to keep this in mind when we build a website, that we say, should we have the blessing and the money to go Spanish, Arabic, English, and Bahasa or something like that, that we have at least something to build upon and plug this into. Thank you.
Yep, and I will be giving the core team a tour of this as well, Marjolaine and Frederic, and we can definitely mention that, that those are the downsides right now of the website, that it's only in English. It would be nice to have it in more languages, and accessibility to other, people with disabilities. I mean, certainly there is plenty that you could do around that, but I think that would require some additional software and things like that. But I think we should keep advocating for that as this further develops, for sure. Okay, with that, I really appreciate your feedback and for you to be on the call. It means a lot to us, and we'll share this with the rest of the group and hopefully get more feedback from them. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.